Hello again, YouTubers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm your host, the Board Game Captain, and today I'm going to be reviewing and showing you how to play Isle of Skye. Now, Isle of Skye was designed by Alexander Pfister and Andreas Pelikan. I hope I've pronounced those names correctly. And it was published by Mayfair Games and Lookout Games. Now, Isle of Skye is a tile-laying game for 2 to 5 players, listed as being a 60-minute game for ages 8 and up. Now, I want to start there with the 2 to 5. Now, this game does play well at all different player counts, but actually I like it best at 2 players. And when talking about how the game plays and reviewing it later, I'll explain why. I'm actually going to save that for the review. The 60 minutes is a pretty good estimate for a normal sized game because you kind of do a lot of this. A lot of the game is done simultaneously. It doesn't get significantly longer with more players. And the 8+ is probably a pretty good estimate. This is a fairly basic game. It's not super advanced. So let's have a look at what comes in the box. So first we have a nice full color rule book. I say book, it's really more of a pull-out sheet where you have 3 two-sided pages, so 6 pages total. Fairly easy to understand, and there's no problems with this rule pamphlet. It'll have you up and running in about 10 minutes. The game comes with this really nice kind of canvas bag to hold the tiles in. And it's very important for the game because you often, during the game, have to draw random tiles from the bag. Now, the tiles say Isle of Skye on the back, and then on the front have different kinds of terrain, as well as roads and symbols with things like barrels of whiskey and ships and such on them. Different tiles have different imagery on them. Here we have a lighthouse there, for instance. And here you can see a bridge and a little farmhouse on this tile. But this bag is filled with all different tiles which you will have to place together to make your kingdom. Now the next bit of components here, and this is a rather clever bit here, is this screen. There's a different screen for each player color. This is the red screen. And what you do is you place these little side pieces here to make it into a screen, and then it sits in front of you on the board so you can hide things behind it, which is very important for the gameplay. And on the back, it gives you a little cheat sheet to remind you of different parts of play and how they work. It's all done language free. It's just done with symbols. Then we have here, these are some wooden tokens. These are just for keeping track of the score on the board while you are playing. We have some other screens there as well for the other colors. We have a starting token for each of the players. It has their color on the back, and on the front it has their castle. The castle they're all the same. They all have a mountain, and a bit of water next to their castle, as well as roads coming off of their tile in 3 directions, which is very important for placing the other tiles around them to have a nice variety of terrain there. Then we have lots of these coins. Now the coins are just cardboard punch-out coins with different values up to 10s, as you can see there. They're all different values of coins. And they're just standard, cardboard punch-out chits, if you will. And then we have a whole bunch of these here scoring tiles. Now, these are shuffled up randomly, and different scoring mechanics are used. A different combination of scoring mechanics are used for each game. And again, these are language free, but there is a cheat sheet on the back of the book to tell you exactly how it is that each of these are used to score points. And then the final bit of components that I want to show you is the board. The board is 2-sided because there is one side for 5 players and one side for every other combination of players. This is every combination but 5, and this is 5, and it has a little symbol in the bottom. Now, the scoring tiles are placed on the windows, and the windows have letters above them which correspond to the different turns. As you see, the turns each have a different different combinations of ribbons beneath them to tell you which scoring tiles you use for that turn. So the first couple of turns only use one, and then you use two different ones, and then you use three different ones, but each scoring mechanism is only used 3 times during a game. You have a score track around the outside of the board, and then also in addition to that, you have a few different things to remind you of things here. You have these coins to remind you when you get to turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 that if you are not in first place, you get to get extra coins based on how many coins are shown there, times the number of people that are ahead of you in score. And over here, there are some scoring reminders that at the end of the game, 5 gold coins are worth a point, as well as the point bonuses you have on scrolls on your board are worth double if they are in completed areas. And those symbols are shown there to remind you. So that's a look at everything that comes in the box for Isle of Skye. Now let's head to the table and I'm going to show you how to play a game of Isle of Skye. And then we're going to come back. I'm going to talk about how it feels. I'm going to review it and rate it. And then we're going to get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, so here we can see a 2-player game of Isle of Skye set up. We each start out with our screens here and our little axe token hidden behind it, which we're going to use. I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. And we each take our starting tile, which has our own castle on it, because we're each going to be building our own little kingdom here. We have the coins set up next to the board, and with the board we each start at 0 victory points, and we start with the player, the turn order token here on the first turn. We shuffled up the tokens and drew 4 random scoring tokens, which are placed under the A, B, C, and D flags, and then each turn is marked with which ones of these will score at the end of those turns. So now this is a game that is really better to show you how it plays rather than explain it, so we're just going to jump into it. So the first thing we do is we get income. Now you get income based on, you get 5 for having a castle, so you just get 5 normally, and then when you have roads connected to barrels of whiskey, they will each give you 1 extra. So to start with, we each just get 5 income. So I'm going to take 5 coins, 5 singles. Lynn is taking a 2 and 3 singles. So you're going to take that and put it behind our screens there. And then the next thing we do is we draw tiles. Now Lynn draws first. She will draw 3 tiles from the bag, and she will place them in front of her screen face up. So I'm going to draw my 3 as well and place them in front of my screen face up. Now, we each get a chance to look at each other's tiles and see what's available out there before we align with behind our screen money, at least 1 gold coin in front of 2 of the tiles, and the axe in front of 1 we're going to discard, but we don't know which one our opponent is going to discard. So there is a little bit of, trying to figure out what is your opponent going to do. So you can put coins in front of them, 1 or more, and you can hold some coins in your hand with in mind to buy some of your opponent's areas if you want. So now I'm going to, let's see here. There we go. Okay, so I've placed my coins. Have you placed your coins?
Yes.
Okay, then we reveal at the same time. We pull our screen out of the way. Whichever one we have the axe pointing to gets discarded back into the bag. Okay, and then the other 2, starting with the first player, she may choose to use extra money she had left aside to buy based on the prices I have set, which I've set with the coins here for mine. Now, did you save any money to buy?
No, I didn't.
No, neither did I. So in which case, if you wanted to, you could have bought 1 of your opponent's tiles, but in this case, neither of us saved money, so we spend the money that we have put in front of them, and we put that all back into the reserve here, and we actually get to keep the tiles we had. So then we get to place those tiles on our kingdom here. Now, like kind of terrain must be placed next to like kind of terrain. So mountain to mountain here, as you can see, is fine, but I could not place the mountain next to the grass because that wouldn't make sense. Roads may continue, but don't have to. But if you want your barrels to earn money for you, they must be placed, the barrels must be placed connected to the the road that leads to your castle to earn you money for that road. So that does become really rather important in that regard. So for my second one, I'm going to place it there. There we go. Okay, so you have placed yours, I've placed mine. Now the next thing we do is we score, as long as we were able to place everything based on what the turn's scoring is. Now the turn scoring here on A is the A tile says you get to score based on if you have those round towers on mountain areas. If you have one round tower on a mountain area, which I do have a round tower on a mountain area here, let me show that to the camera there. I have one of those round towers on the mountain area. That gets me 1 point for one round tower on the mountain area. So I move up with 1 point. Now, Lynn does not have any of those, so she doesn't get to score on the first turn. So now we move on to the second turn, and we just repeat. So for the second turn, I become the first player, and again, we get our income. Now, I got a barrel here, so I get an extra gold, so I'm going to get 6 gold. So I'm going to take 2, 4, 5, 6. Lynn takes 5.
Why would I take 5? I have 2 barrels.
Oh, you have 2 barrels. I'm sorry. I didn't see the barrels. So you take 7. My mistake. I apologize. And then I will draw my 3 random tiles. And then Lynn will draw her 3 random tiles. Let me just move my castle and country over here up a bit. And I'm going to put my tiles face up in front of me. Okay. So let's see, I'm going to place my axe and my money. Okay, I'm all ready. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we reveal. We discard the one with the axe again. Now, starting with me, I have saved 2 coins to possibly purchase, but Lynn has made each of those 3 coins each, and therefore out of my price range. Would you like to purchase?
Well, I did save a coin.
So you can purchase this one if you want.
Sure.
Okay, so Lynn will purchase. I get that coin back, as well as the coin she gave. She gets the tile, and then we have to all spend for what we took. I only have 1 tile to play with, but Lynn has 2, so she definitely got the better end of that deal there. So I'm going to place this one here. Okay, and then we pass the token back to Lynn. She's going to be the start player for the next round. Oh, but also we have to score. For B, you get a point for every completed area that is made up of at least 3 tiles. So I have a mountain that is completed. It's got the edges of the mountain range completely around it, and it is on 3 tiles, so that will get me 1 point. I have nothing else that's completed. Lynn, do you have any completed areas?
I believe I just have the 1 mountain.
You do, in fact, have a mountain, and yeah, it looks like that's your only completed area, so Lynn gets a point as well. So which point, Lynn's going to start off on the next turn. We get our income again, so again, I get 6. 6, which I add to the income that I already had. Lynn gets 7 again. And then starting with Lynn, we draw 3 tiles again and go through the bidding process a 3rd time. Now also, the person in least, because we're on the 3rd turn here, also gets an extra coin as marked on the board for each player in front of them. Now Lynn, you're in 2nd place, so you get an extra coin also. Okay, so I'm going to place these 3 here, and Okay, and I'm all set.
I am too.
Okay, so I've set my prices, and I've saved some money, and I discard my extra tile, as Lynn discards hers. Now, Lynn, you are the star player. Did you want to buy any, either of mine? They both cost 3 coins.
No, I only saved 2.
Okay,
money.
so now I saved 4, so I can afford to buy one of yours. I could buy either one of yours, actually. I think I will, actually. I'm going to give you 4. I'm going to buy that more expensive one there. So you get a whole bunch of money back. I lose the rest of mine. You lose those 2 to keep that 1 tile. And then we can place our tiles that we have collected where we like them. So I'm going to place this here. And then this here. And this there. Okay, so now at the end of turn 3, we score with both the A and C requirements. So for A, every mountain area that you have at least one of those round towers on, I have 1 here, gets you a point, so I get 1 there. And 2, I have 1 here with 2, gets me 3 points. 1, 2, 3. And Lynn, do you have any with those round towers? Okay. And then we use the C one, which says whoever has the most barrels of whiskey. So I have 1, 2, 3. How many do you?
I have 3.
You have 3, which means we tied for the most, so we each get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then again, we would repeat, and we keep doing this until we get to the end, and whoever has the most points wins the game of Isle of Skye. And that's really all there is to it. You keep taking turns. Each turn has different combinations of scorings. You have 2 turns with 1 scoring each, then 2 turns with 2 scorings each, then two turns with 3 of the different scoring mechanisms each. Each scoring mechanism shows up 3 times, and they are randomized to give you some variety for the game. You keep going around, you place prices on the tiles, the amount that you're willing to spend on them, or if someone else wants to buy them, and then you get those funds. And then when you get to the end of the game, you count up your points. You get bonus points for every 5 coins. You get 1 bonus point that you have left over, and you get bonus points for any scrolls. For instance, I had this scroll here which said I would get a bonus point for every 2 sheep. In addition, as that scroll is in this grassy area, if this grassy area was completed, I would actually double those bonus points. And that's it. That's all there is to a game of Isle of Skye. So let's head back to the table. I'll talk about how this game feels, and then we're going to rate it and review it, and I'll get a second opinion from Lynn. Okay, so welcome back. That was how you play a game of Isle of Skye. So, I mean, it's a fairly basic tile-laying game. The one thing that makes it a little interesting is the variety of scoring mechanisms. It's the one thing changing up the scoring mechanisms from game to game that makes this stand out from some of the more classic tile-laying games like Carcassonne, for instance. But generally speaking, there's really not a lot of extra mechanisms in here. It's just, you've got a bidding mechanic. Okay, that's a little different. You've got the variety of win conditions, but there's some issues here. My biggest issue is that while each of you, while bidding, can only take 1 tile, when you're playing with more than 2 players, it's very easy to take all the tiles from 1 player, because if they had some really cool tiles and other people wanted them, they can get them. And then you can have a player who literally could wind up placing 0 tiles on their turn. And if that happens early in the game, that can be really hard to recover from. Incredibly hard to recover from, because other people might be getting whiskey barrels and multiple whiskey barrels, and then they're getting even more coins from you, and you don't even start getting the makeup coins, the bonus coins for being in a lower place until you hit turn 3. So if that happens to you once or twice in the early turns, you're probably completely out of it. You're not even going to have a chance to win. In fact, my biggest complaint with this game is that it's way too common for someone to have a runaway lead fairly early on and no one being able to catch up with them. Usually the person who takes the early lead is also the person that wins. They put in that artificial mechanic of getting the extra coins to try to help you catch up. And while that helps, it doesn't really balance it back out enough that still, like I said, someone who manages to take a runaway lead in the first couple of turns is usually the person who wins the game. And that's not all that interesting. It's not a terribly bad game in my opinion, but it's also not terribly interesting either. And for me, if I had played this game before we had bought it, I think it might have been a pass. But it looked interesting and we bought it and we tried it out. And you know what? And that's what I'm saying. I can't really recommend this game. I give Isle of Skye 5 out of 10 stars because it feels decidedly mediocre to me. It doesn't do anything really new or spectacular. It's all older mechanisms shoved together, in my opinion, in not a very interesting or well thought out way. But let's get a second opinion. Lynn, how many stars would you give to Isle of Skye?
4.
Now, Lynn has told me for the same reasons that I have made this rated this a mediocre game, Lynn rated it a very poor game. And because those reasons made her dislike it even more intensely than I did. She had a game where she had lost both of her tiles 2 turns in a row. And then it was just impossible for her to catch up. And that's why she dislikes this game as much as she does, because it's possible for that to happen. And the thing is, now, while that did not happen to me, I saw it happen to her and I empathized. Because she didn't do anything wrong. It's just how the game went. And it's how this game can go. And in all likelihood, if you play it, it's how this game will go. So we can't really recommend this here. This is more or less a 1 thumb down from Lynn, and for me, neither a thumb down nor a thumb up. I'm going to rate it rather mediocre. So basically, this is a 1 thumb down review. But there you have it. Have you played Isle of Skye? Do you thoroughly disagree with us here at the Board Game Captain? Do you really like this game? Feel free to comment down below, and you can tell us why it is that you really like this game and why you disagree, because it's okay, because just because this game is not for me doesn't mean that this game is not for anyone. I could see other people really liking this game. It can be a bit cutthroat, and I could understand that, but like I said, it's not for me. But feel free to comment down below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, either on Isle of Skye or on this video, feel free to put them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more review and tutorial videos like this, be sure to give it a like, share this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelt with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.